Hi folks, it's Tom at psychsafety.com again, and today we're going to be talking about PACE. PACE is an acronym that stands for Probe, Alert, Challenge and Emergency, and it's a graded assertiveness practice or protocol that originally comes from CRM, crew resource management, that came from aviation. It kind of emerged out of a number of disasters in the 1970s, such as the Tenerife disaster, which we've already covered. And so, just to set this in context, whilst psychological safety is about creating the conditions in which people can speak up, particularly against or against a power gradient, speaking up to power or higher status individuals, PACE is a mechanism for doing so. So whilst psychological safety is about creating the conditions to do that, PACE is the practice, or one of the practices, to actually do that, to actually do it in practice and make it a real thing. Now, what PACE recognises is that it's quite difficult, it's quite challenging, it's quite risky to immediately speak up with an emergency, with a big concern or something urgent to talk about or something urgent to address, particularly if someone's made a mistake or you think they might have made a mistake. And so what PACE does is allow us to start with a low threat, low risk question. That's a probe. And that might be, is that warning light meant to be red? Are we on track with the patient's breathing management? Do we have ATC clearance for takeoff? Questions like that just probe and alert and just raise the issue in the other person's consciousness and go, oh yes, we need to do something. And that might be enough. That might be all you need to do. And that way we've taken a low risk, low threat action and we've resolved the issue, whatever that issue is. Now, if that doesn't get the traction, get the attention that we need, then we can escalate to alert. And this might be something like oxygen is at 90% and decreasing, or if that test fails, the whole batch will fail, or this release hasn't passed all the integration tests, or something like that, a sort of alert, a warning. Now, this raises the risk, but it also raises the urgency and raises the importance of it. Of course, and so this might resolve it. And of course, but if it doesn't, then we can escalate to challenge. Now, this is about stating the issue and suggesting some alternative course of action, some other action we might take. And this might be something like, I think you're too tired to drive safely, take a rest. Or it might be, this is the fourth attempt at intubation, we should ask for assistance. We don't have clearance for takeoff, hold on. Or those sorts of alerts, those sorts of issues, those sorts of challenges that are even more risky than before, but can grab the attention of the person who you're trying to get to intervene or get to do something. Now, if this doesn't get the traction or attention that you need, then we can escalate all the way to emergency. And this is usually issuing some unambiguous command like stop. This is unsafe to continue, stop. And that's quite risky, right? And if we escalate all the way to emergency without going through these previous steps, in our head we might be wrong about the problem or the concern, then we risk sort of being, or we risk feeling like we're the person who cried wolf, and facing some negative consequences as a result. Now, PACE is really powerful, and it's particularly powerful to help us speak up against a power gradient, as we said, and power gradients are the number one inhibitor of psychological safety in the vast majority of contexts. Now, what's also powerful about PACE, graded assertiveness, is that we can practice it ourselves, and we can practice it with our teammates and colleagues. And if we practice it with our teammates and colleagues, that's really amazing, because we all get to have a go at it, and it becomes a bit more routine, a bit more instinctive and habitual when we need to actually use it in practice. It becomes a bit more easy to do in the real world if we've already practiced it in a sort of simulation or group setting where it's not a real world scenario. Now, that's really powerful, and you can also just stick it on posters. We have a graphic online at psychsafety.com that you can put online, so that you can print out and put on your wall, and that's really great. That helps teach people about PACE and helps bring it into the ways of working. What's also really powerful if you practice it with your teammates is that we begin to detect it when other people are doing it to us, right? So if someone probes and we're like, oh no, it's fine, it's meant to be like that, it always does that, and then they move to alert, then we can be we're a bit more habitually attuned to detecting that someone's moving through these mechanisms, moving through these steps with us. We can go, right, sorry, I see what you're doing. Yes, I need to do something about that. Yes, we need to do something about that before they have to escalate all the way to emergency. So this is really powerful. It's worth pointing out, of course, that there are cases where it's perfectly okay, it's perfectly good, and not rude or risky to go all the way to emergency. If there is a fire in the corner of the room, feel free to say, everyone, there's a fire, we need to get out. We don't have to say, is that fire meant to be there? So that's, we don't need to use this every time, but it can be a really powerful practice to put in place and adopt and practice with our team members or just by ourselves. And so I'd suggest you have a go at PACE. PACE is great at assertiveness, probe, alert, challenge and emergency. PACE facilitates clear and respectful dialogue even across power gradients and can significantly improve safety as well as day-to-day collaboration, even in a marketing meeting or a finance meeting or even a social context. So have a go at PACE and let me know what you think in the comments. And also like and subscribe and head over to psychsafety.com for resources, online training, communities, meetups and everything else that you'd like to get stuck into around psychological safety. So thank you so much, folks. Have a go at PACE and let me know how you get on. Cheers.